Yo, what's going on, man? Today is March the 2nd, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show where I am live on Twitter, also live on YouTube as well. Coming off a pretty bad night, man. We got a lot of CLV, but it all ended up being trash yesterday, man. I'll get into the recap, but hit the like button for me if you guys can. If you guys enjoy the show, definitely check me out on Twitter if you're listening on YouTube. And if you're listening in on Twitter, if you're listening on YouTube, check me out on Twitter or X as well. The link for all my official plays can be found in the description. And the link to the OzJam promo page is also in the description if you guys are interested in using OzJam, for your sports betting journey. So getting into the recap, we always transparent on the show. This is actually not the I thought I updated, maybe I didn't. This is actually the recap from the numbers that the teams that you guys see are from the day before. But yesterday, I talked about liking the Pistons, so they should be up here with an X. Also ended up taking the Sacramento Kings team total under when De'Aaron Fox got ruled out against the Timberwolves yesterday. Got some CLV on that number at I think it was 109.5. That was also a loser because Minnesota just decided they couldn't stop De'Aaron Fox being out. They couldn't stop Malik Monk last night, who went for, I think, close to 40. And then I also had the money line parlay, which included the Minnesota Timberwolves, who also, just dropped the ball. Anthony Edwards left the game in the middle of the game, didn't return for personal reasons. It was just a terrible night overall. So we're just going to dump it in the trash. It's a terrible way to start the month. But we're still super profitable for the week after going on a nice little 8-0 streak and then making some money on Thursday night as well. So not going to let it hamper me too much. The problem, at least in my opinion, is always that after you come off a really bad night, you really want to get it back. And that's where you have to kind of, in my opinion, you got to kind of learn some patience, because the slate for today is terrible, in my opinion. I really don't like a lot of it at all. We got a lot of these teams that already played against each other, and then you got some undesirable matchups, in my opinion, as well. So we'll just jump right into it. First game up, we got the Atlanta Hawks and the Brooklyn Nets. These two teams, of course, just played against each other on Thursday night in Barclays, where Atlanta is absolutely terrible and was terrible. Atlanta is really, really bad. I hadn't even checked this out, it was one of the things that I didn't take into my handicap in the last game, but looking into Atlanta specifically in Brooklyn, they just don't play well. It was, like I said, it was something that I didn't really pay attention to. Atlanta has not won a game in Brooklyn in 1, 2, 3, 4. They haven't won a game since at least the 2020 season in Brooklyn. I'm not sure exactly what it is, why they can't play there. Brooklyn also just, for whatever reason, even though they've been struggling, they typically own this team 7-3 straight up, even though they are just 3-7 against the number. But they absolutely beat the brakes off Atlanta. I was on the wrong side of that game. And for that reason, even though I think Atlanta can bounce back in this spot, I can't lay the points for them here. I'm sorry, not lay the points. I can't even take the point. And this game is coming down to a pick. And what's crazy is that Cam Thomas is still ruled out. Brooklyn made 22 3-pointers. I think that's important to mention. One of the things that I looked into. Brooklyn made 22 3-pointers in that last game against the Atlanta Hawks. They beat them 124-97. And they shot, what did they shoot? They shot 48% from the 3-point line. Now, we did cash the under. We were on the under in that game. And I thought that was good, but it was more so because Atlanta offense didn't show up. They only shot 29% from the 3-point line on 8 for 28 shooting. Now, getting back into this game, the first thing that jumped out to me was I knew I wasn't going to play the game, but I just want to kind of give you guys some notes. Brooklyn is 1-5 straight up, 1-4-1 against the spread, coming off a 20-point win this season. So they have not been able to be consistent at all. League-wide trend tells me that teams that won by 20 points or more in their previous game, but they're playing the same opponent within the 3-day time frame, and they were just 3-point favorites in the first game. Then they open up as less than 3-point favorites in the second game. It doesn't go well for those teams. Only 9-18 straight up, 12-14 and 1 against the spread, dating all the way back to 1996. So what that's saying is that even though the team that won the game by 20 points, if they were laying just 3 points or less in the last game, and then the odds makers opened it up at 3 points or less again, that team, we typically see some regression. And I think that should happen, but I can't trust Atlanta, man. Atlanta has been god awful, specifically on the road. I think they're just 1-6 in their last 7 games on the road. So this was a game that, as much as I would like to back Atlanta again in this spot, because I do feel like they're the more talented team, I couldn't quite get there. Also, when we think about the injury report in this game, although Cam Thomas is already been ruled out, the Brooklyn Nets could get Ben Simmons back. He is listed as game time decision in this game. And yeah, he's listed as questionable in this game with the leg injury. He has missed the last 2 games, I want to say, for the Brooklyn Nets. So those are my thoughts. Like I said, I couldn't quite get there on wanting to take the side. I do think it's an under game, but I didn't want to go right back to the under. This total did open at 221.5. It's not a if you know under, just because the game closed at 220.5 last game, and I think 221 points were scored. But I mean, you could consider it that. Atlanta should be a little bit better defensively. I do expect Brooklyn to regress some from the 3-point line. So that's just how I feel about the game. But like I said, definitely not a game I'm playing. Let's go to the chat real quick. Dusty says, "What's up, Chris? In the house, stayed away from everything. Stayed away from anything last, but I'm ready for today. Like button smash. Appreciate you, Dexter. What's up, S. Dot? Keelan, Bitsy, called me Aries. He says, last night was sickening. Boy, last night was crazy. I got CLV on all 3 plays, and Anthony Edwards just left the game and never came back. And I lost the money line parlay too. I was tight, bro. I went to sleep a little frustrated last night, especially after having such a great week. So I'm right there with you. What's up, PZ? Jamie, what's going on, my brother? He says, bounce back day. Joking, good morning to you as well. What's up, Tasha? What's up, Young Harlow? Appreciate you guys for tapping in as always. Let's keep it pushing. Next game up. So in this game, like I said, I don't even have, and you see the line coming down. It's all the way down to a pick in favor of Brooklyn. So, I mean, really close spread. I have no idea what to do with this game. Also, an earlier start time game. Not sure who that favors. But down to a pick and total down to 219. I definitely agree with the movement coming down. Maybe something live. If you're a member, maybe I'll be watching the game, and maybe it's something I end up playing live. Let's get to a game that could be a little bit better. Let's go to this Utah Jazz and Miami Heat game. So this line actually opened up at 8 in favor of Miami. I think it was 7.5. It went up to 8. It was 7.5 last night. It went up to 8. And now it's come back down to 7.5, and the total come down from 226 all the way down to 223.5. It looks like it's the lowest total that I see right now. I think you got to agree with the movement coming in on the total going under, just because the Heat not in the greatest spot. This will be their first game back home after a 6-game road trip. And Utah, they really struggled to score. Just they've been bad, and it's typically because of their offense. They're 3-7 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games. 0-2 straight up and against the spread on this 3-game road trip. Today is the last game of the road trip, and they're also 5-0 to the under on their team total in their last 5 games. This team has really struggled to score the ball. We know that the Miami Heat defense has been turned up. Like, they've been playing really good defense. They go to Denver the other day. They only give up 103 points in that game. And the other thing to mention about Miami is they've been red hot. I think they were 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. They actually covered because the line ended up being 6.5. If you waited to get a better number in that game against the Denver Nuggets the other day, they're 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. However, we know the Miami Heat are not the best road team, best home team, especially at covering these big numbers. Only 12-6 against the 12-16 against the spread at home this season. And if they're a home favorite, I want to say it's not even that good. Let's check real quick. Let's just look at the Heat as home favorites. The Heat as a home favorite this season, they are 11-10, so they have been slightly profitable, 52% as a home favorite, and they've actually covered their last 3 in this spot as well. They beat the Kings, they beat the Magic, and they beat the Spurs. And that Kings game came after they had the players only meeting. So I still kind of feel like it's a tad bit too many points here. And I could be wrong, right? I feel like, the line makers know that the Utah Jazz have been absolutely trash. They're not going to set this line, at 4.5 or 5.5. They're going to open it up, 7.5 to see if they can get money on both sides. And I do think, if I had to play this one, I think I'd be taking the points with Utah. I know they've been god awful. And I do think that Miami wins the game. So I think Miami, maybe first half, just because they've been a really good first half team. But the Jazz actually played really, really well against Orlando just a couple nights ago. And you got the Miami Heat flying all the way across country. They coming back from Denver. We know that they were on that West Coast road trip, 6 games on that West Coast road trip. They were in Portland. They were in Sacramento. So they were all the way on the West Coast. Now you come back home and you get an earlier start time as well, 5:10. Versus for Utah, I mean, this team was already they were already in the state of Florida. They were just in Orlando. So I think that a nice little advantage. And you probably, not to say that they're going to win the game, but I do think that they continue to fight hard in this game. So I think if I had to play it, I would lean towards Utah. I think it's just a tad bit too many points, but no way I'm playing this game. It's just not a great game for me to be invested in. One thing I did want to mention real quick before we move on to the next one is that I looked at the Heat when they're coming back off these 6-game road trips over the last few years. They're 5-3 straight up since the 2021 season when they're coming back home off a 6-game road trip. 5-3 straight up, but just 3-5 against the spread coming back home after a 6-game road trip or more. They're also 6-2 to the over when they're returning home off of that 6-game road trip as well. Utah is first in points off turnovers post All-Star break, but Miami does not turn the ball over. So that does not bode well for Miami. But one thing we do know is that Miami will shoot a bunch of threes, and Utah has been really, really struggling against the three-point line. Above the break threes, something that Utah's really, really struggled with. Miami also got a slew of people that's on the injury report as well. So maybe you wait, kind of figure out exactly who's going to be in. Tyler Hero is a game-time decision. Highsmith is, Kevin Love, Cody Martin, all of those guys are listed as questionable for this game. And on the Utah side, Walker Kessler, who didn't play in that last game because of a foot injury, is still listed as questionable as well. We talked about how much of an impact he makes, but I'm not sure how much of an impact he make in this one, just because Miami's not a team that really attacks the rim. And that's what Walker Kessler's out there for: rebounding the basketball, altering shots, blocking shots at the rim. Miami's not a team that really likes to, they like to get the ball into the paint and then, dish out for three-pointers. So those are my thoughts there. I feel like I'm already taking too long on this game. So before we keep it pushing, I want to check the comments real quick and see if anybody else has a stronger opinion than I do on this game. L Boogie says, like it up as always. Thanks for the analysis. Appreciate you, L Boogie. PG says, honestly, I'm already looking at tomorrow's card. There's a lot of good looks. I agree, PG. I looked at tomorrow's card already as well. After looking at this card, my head started to hurt. So I went ahead and looked at tomorrow's card as well. I think I've identified a few winners, even though we don't even have lines out yet. So it's gonna be interesting. Estai says, Chris, they are at home. You talking about your Miami Heat? What's up to my guy Fred? All right, cool. Let's keep it pushing. Next game up. Don't sound like y'all got a lot of thoughts on this one. And this is a game I definitely don't have a lot of thoughts on. It's the Portland Trail Blazers and the Memphis Grizzlies, man. These two teams played last night. I said that I thought Memphis was the right side. So glad I stayed away from that. Portland absolutely smoked these boys. Beat them 122-92. 30-point win as 1-point dogs. And now they play back-to-back against each other. And I think the injury report has to be mentioned in this game as well. Even though the Portland Trail Blazers have been god-awful, this team is 1-9 in their last 10 games, the only win being last night. Maybe even celebrated last night. Just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. Head-to-head, they do play Memphis really, really tough for whatever reason. 6-4 straight up, 8-2 against the spread. Now, of course, we know Memphis had a bunch of injuries, and I'm not going to get into this game too much. But Memphis, of course, had a bunch of injuries, and they still do have a bunch of injuries. So before you play this one, just a word to the wise. Figure out who's going to play in this game, man. Jared Jackson Jr. was ruled out last night. I didn't see any kind of update on whether he was going to play or not. And I do think that's the reason why Portland ended up scoring 122 points. They literally didn't have a real center. And they didn't even start Stevenson at the center position. I thought that he would have started. They literally did not have a real center last night. So they were dominated on the boards last night. And that was even without Aiden being a part of the game. Aiden is also listed as a game-time decision in this one. He was ruled out of the game yesterday as well. So you got Aiden on one side, you got Jared Jackson Jr. on one side, Brogdon, Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, all still out for Portland. And I'm not going to get into the long list that Memphis has. But a couple of these guys didn't play. I know Luke Kennard, he did not play yesterday. Gigi Jackson did play yesterday, but he was listed as Gigi Jackson did play yesterday, but he was also on the injury report. John Conchar, I think, was ruled out last minute. Yeah, he got ruled out. I think Luke Kennard was also ruled out as well. So yeah, just make sure you know who's playing in this one. This game doesn't start until 8 o'clock, so not going to take too much longer on this one. Markel says pass. I'm with you there. Estai says I would take the under, but it's already steamed down to. I would agree with that as well. And what's up, Carlos? Appreciate you for tapping in as well. Let's keep pushing. No play on the side or the total in this game. It is interesting, however, and I don't know if I wrote it down or not, though. Just going back real quick. Whenever you see a team get smoked like that and they have the quick revenge, that's typically a better spot for them. So that would point towards Memphis, but you definitely want Jared Jackson Jr. to be in. You want Luke Kennard to be in. You want John Contra to be in. You want Derrick Rose. All of those guys listed as game time decision. So monitor the injury report. But I did find a very strong trend that backs Memphis to get some get back today against the Portland Trailblazers. But definitely check out the injury report before you guys decide to play that one. At least that would be my recommendation. Potentially the game of the day here. We got the Denver Nuggets. I'll call it the game of the day. The Denver Nuggets against the Lakers. This line open with the Lakers laying 1 point last night. And it's crazy because I saw the total. It was actually at 231.5. DraftKings had actually laid at 231.5. So I looked at it. I said, man, that looked like a tad bit too many points. This was right after we did the show, right after I did the show yesterday. And then I went upstairs, took a shower, ate, and I came back down to finish up the work before the game started, capping the game for today, before the game started last night. And this total had already started to move. It was down to 230.5. This was before the other books had even started. And I said, yeah, I like the under. And I didn't play it. And I do think that that's probably the best play of the day. I do think it's probably the best play today. And I actually like the total now. 231.5, already down to 227.5. And I think that we probably still see a little bit more towards the under. So looking at this one, first and foremost, injury report wise, I think it's super, super significant. Jamal Murray, of course, rolled that ankle against the Miami Heat. He did not return. He's listed as questionable in this game. So that could, hinder that offense a lot, in my opinion. You also got KCP listed as questionable in this game for personal reasons. Not sure what's going on with him, but if he doesn't play, it should be a lot more Christian Braun, who is a little bit more defensive oriented, and Peyton Watson probably get a few more minutes. Another really good defensive oriented type player as well. Now looking at the Lakers, of course, LeBron James is listed as questionable, as he always is, with the left ankle, whatever you want to call it, soreness, tightness, whatever. And then you also got Anthony Davis. Of course, game time decision as well. He's listed as probable, so he's probably going to play. The Lakers, it feels like to me, man, I told you guys, I'm not going against the rule that I just told you guys the other day. And that rule was that I'm not betting against Denver to come out the All-Star break. Now, this spot does set up really, really good for the Lakers, right? You get the Lakers at home. I think it's their third straight. Well, no, I think it'll be the third straight home game, even though they are one of those games actually came when they were playing against the Clippers. But we talked about, if the Clippers are playing at home and they're playing the Lakers, it's a Laker home game. So Lakers will be in Crypto.com Arena for the third straight game. They actually got 3 more home games after this as well. But like I said, Denver, when I said it last time, they were 4-0 straight up and against the spread after the All-Star break. Now, depending on what number you got in that last game against Miami, they didn't cover the 6.5, but they did cover that opening number that I think was 5.5, because they won that game by 6. They are, Denver, a really solid defensive team. They really turned up after the All-Star break. 97 points to Miami, 96 points to Sacramento. Now, granted, they didn't have De'Aaron Fox. 103 points to Golden State in Golden State. This team is really, really locking down defensively. Since the All-Star break, I want to say they're the number 1 defensive rated team. Number 2 defensive rated team behind only the Milwaukee Bucks. So that, to me, lends towards the under. The Lakers also been playing some really good defense as well. So Denver, 7-3 to the under in their last 10. These head-to-head matchups between the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets, we know that there's a history there. It goes back way before the Western Conference Finals last year. It goes back to the bubble when the Lakers beat the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs that year to end up winning that championship in the bubble. So, I think that, just looking at that in totality, to me, screams towards the under. The Lakers are also 5-4-1 to the under in their last few games. The defense is really, you could say, kind of picked it up just a tad bit. We know that they were going to struggle against that Wizards game, and they're coming off the overtime game as well. Another reason why I don't really want to touch the Lakers. So under, I think, is the right spot in this game. Like I said, 7-3 in the last 10 games towards the under. Both matchups so far this season. The one that was in Denver went under. The one that was in LA went under. And I want to say when I was looking into this earlier, Denver also number one in opponent effective field goal percentage post All-Star break. So, I mean, they're really playing defense. And if they're going to be without Jamal Murray, potentially KCP as well, that could lend itself towards the under. I really want to take the Lakers, but I can't. The Denver has owned this team. I go back to the Golden State trend. I go back to the Miami trend. I'm not betting against Denver right now. They're 8-2 against the Lakers in their last 10 games, including the playoffs. They beat them already twice this season. They covered both of the short numbers, and now you get them at a pick. So you really just need them to win. We know that the Lakers don't have an answer for Jokic, no matter how good Anthony Davis is. He cannot stop Jokic, in my opinion. But if the Lakers gonna have a chance to ever beat this team, I mean, you got to be able to take advantage of no Jamal Murray, which I don't think is going to play. Like, he could play, but I think you kind of rest him in this spot, in my opinion. I think he deserves to, you want him healthy going into the playoffs. So I do think that Jamal Murray will be ruled out. Hasn't happened yet, but I think he's going to be out. And I think that's why we see this total dropping, because if Jamal Murray doesn't play, it's probably going to close at about 226, 225 and a half potentially. So, under, I think, is the right play. Under is definitely the right play. Looks like it's going back up to 228. But if Jamal Murray is ruled out, I do think it's going to be an under game. Also, KCP, another lethal three-point shooter. I think he just had a humongous game in one of their home games. Also, going to turn towards the under as well. So under, I think, is the right spot in this game. Let's see how you guys are feeling about it in the chat. RL says riding with the under 227 and a half on this one. Caught the steam on it. Yeah, I agree with that. What up to my guy, Sai? Dream says hit the like. He likes D-Lo threes in this spot. I can see D-Lo having a big game. D-Lo got to take this one personal. D-Lo caught a lot of criticism from local media, national media, and from myself for how poor he played against the Denver Nuggets. In that playoff series last. I mean, he literally went missing. He couldn't guard Jamal Murray. He was just literally out there. Wasn't making shots, wasn't playing defense, wasn't getting others involved. He looked terrible. So he should, in my opinion, take this one serious. GCB says he took the Lakers. Frank says, good luck. Everyone hit the like. Appreciate you, Frank. And GBC says he leans today. Hawks, Grizzlies, Heat, money line, Rockets plus 10. You know what, GBC? I like all of those. I like those. I talked about wanting to take the Hawks. I can't quite get there with the Hawks, though. Especially Ben Simmons coming back, I think that can make it even harder for the Hawks. But I do think the Hawks are the right side. I'm just not putting my money on them again. They just burned me, and I can see them doing it again. The defense has just been really bad on the road. I do think the Grizzlies are the right side if they get everybody in. And the Heat, that's the one we disagree. The money line for the Heat with the Rockets, and we're going to talk about that game in a second, I do think are the right size. Estai says this is an under game. I agree. Lingowick says the Nuggets on the road. I love the under. Yeah, the Nuggets on the road. Real quick, let's look into that real quick. That was actually one of the ways I didn't look into the game. Let's look at the Nuggets on the road, and I want to look at it in conference as well. I know that they've been an under team on the road because they played a really slow pace. So Nuggets on the road so far this season are 19-11 to the under. That's 63.3%. to the under, and they've been flying under too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-2 to the under in their last 10 road games. Now, if we add that they are in a conference road game, 11-5-1 to the under, that's 68.8% as well. And these are also flying towards the under as well. Looks like 4-2 to the under in their last 6. And like I said, these two teams don't like each other. 7-3 to the under in the last 10 matchups as well. So it only be under for me. And crazy as it sounds, man, like I said, you kind of got to wait for the injury report. But I kind of like the Lakers, man. I think that they should be able to get the job done if Jamal Murray doesn't play. Definitely not betting against the Lakers if Jamal Murray and KCP does play, though. I'm not betting against the Nuggets. My fault. Not betting against the Nuggets in this spot. Let's see. Fred says I got one unit on Denver. Estai says leaning Heat -7.5 to under 225. The Nuggets in the under 228. I think that those could be winners. Estai, like I said, I'm probably not gonna bet the Jazz, but I do think your Heat land a tad bit too many points. Lingowick says I'm late, but Nets closes a favorite. I'm smashing the money line again, fam. I agree. I definitely agree. Don't know if I'll play that game live because it feels like with how inconsistent those two teams are, the Atlanta Hawks and the Brooklyn Nets, that one of the teams will get like a 10 or 15 point lead. And I think whichever team, I don't think either team is capable of winning by that much. I don't think the Nets will beat Atlanta by that much again, and I definitely don't think Atlanta can win by that much. So maybe it's a live spot. What's up, Riz? Appreciate you for tapping in. Chad says Lakers have 8 more wins coming this season. That's it. This ain't one of them. Okay, Chad. Chad don't like the Lakers today. Let's get into the last game on the board. So like I said, real difficult card today. Rockets and the Suns, last game on the board. So Houston getting 9.5 points. This line was actually up to 10. Actually up to 10, and it's come back down to 9.5. And this is a difficult game, and the Rockets are not a team that look like they want to be trusted at all. This team they've been terrible in the month. I had it pulled up real quick. Let me see if I can find it. So in the month of February, and granted we're in March now, but in the month of February, 3-9 straight up, 5-7 against the spread, 7-4-1 to the under, and that's because their offense has really struggled, only scoring about 109 points per game. If you look at the Rockets over the course of February, and they're actually on the road, it's been a whole lot worse. 0-8 straight up, 2-6 against the spread, 5-3 to the under, only scoring 106.8 points per game in this spot in the month of February. They've actually failed to cover 5 of their last 6 games when they've been on the road as well. However, they did get a cover against the Suns, and we know that was a revenge game for the Suns. The Suns came out and they had a major rest advantage. It was 3 days to 1, and they jumped out on the Rockets early. I can't remember how big the lead was, but they were covering this game for most of the game, and then their offense just goes dry, as the Phoenix Suns offense typically do at times, especially in the second half. We know that they're the worst fourth quarter offensive team in the NBA. And you see the Rockets, it's a skirmish, but little dust up between Cam Whitmore and Devin Booker as well. They both, well, Devin Booker at least kind of played it off and said, it's nothing personal, just competitive. And it actually happened when they were playing last week in Houston, when Houston got the better of these Phoenix Suns. So for this game, Houston will have the same team. Everybody will be the same. But for Phoenix, Bradley Beal is listed as probable in this game. Looks like he's going to be on track to play. Could potentially be on a minutes limit here. Eric Gordon didn't play in that last game. He is listed as questionable. I think it's a hamstring with Eric Gordon, right? It's a growing with Eric Gordon. And then you also got Nasir Little, who is listed as doubtful. I don't think he played in that last game either. So the way I'm kind of looking at this one, I feel like the 10 points is a tad bit too much, man. I know nobody's going to love it. And I know Bradley Beal could be coming back, but I think that we see some, potentially some regression here. And I'll also say this: the Rockets got the Suns got every call last game. They got every call, so much so that that Alfred Sengun got thrown out the game because, he had already fouled out. It was late in the fourth quarter, but he just literally put his hands up and they called a foul. It was no foul. So, I'm not sure if the NBA is going to rescind that or not, but it was really no foul. And I feel like they've been getting a bad whistle. When I did the show on Thursday, I talked about the Rockets and how much they've been fouling. They are a team that lets the opponent live on the free throw line. But I do kind of feel like in this game, they could potentially get the benefit of the whistle in this one. I do think the Suns are going to win, but I'm not sure if it's going to be by double digits. Now, what I had written down in my notes was that, and I mentioned this on the last show, Phoenix is 6-0 straight up, 5-1 against the number in the month of February in home games. Like I think they're going for 10 straight home wins as well. And they're plus 10 in point differential. But I do kind of feel like the Rockets can, they should have some regression here. Nobody really shot the ball well outside of Jalen Green in that last game. I think he had 34 points. But, nobody else really came to help at all. I think they only scored, what did they scored 100 points in that game or something like that, 105. I kind of think that this could be an over game. Scared to play it because Houston offense, it has been so bad. But with Phoenix getting, Bradley Beal back, I think that helps the offense. Houston, we know, has been a pretty poor defense on the road. I kind of gave you guys the numbers there. And a trend that kind of stood out to me when I was looking and kind of running my systems was when these totals, when you see these two teams play within a 3-day time frame, and the first game actually goes under, but the total actually opens higher, which makes sense because Bradley Beal comes back. Those games are actually 29, 19, and 2 to the over. That's 60.4% dating back, like I said, all the way to 2013. That's when two teams play within 3 days. The first game goes under, but the total actually opens higher. And that game flew under the total as well. So maybe over if I had to play this one. That would be the way that I would look. But I would want, more offense for Phoenix. I would want Eric Gordon in, confirm that Bradley Beal's going to play, see what kind of minutes limits he's going to be on. Because I still don't trust Phoenix defensively. Still don't trust them defensively. And Houston defense, they really don't have defense when they play on the road. At home, they play defense. So those are my thoughts. I would play this one up and over the total if I had to make a play. But like I said, I will wait on the injury news. This game also doesn't start until 9-10. So plenty of time for this one as well. I do not have a top look on the board for today. Outside of that Laker game, and I'm real hesitant to pull a trigger just because I've lost 4 points already. Like I said, that was at 231 last night, 231.5 last night. It's down to 228. But I think Denver and Lakers under would be the play. Lakers absolutely need this win. Denver, if they without Jamal Murray, I think the game goes under. I mentioned the trends already, mentioned the stats already. I think that's the top look on the board. Denver and LA under the 228 will be my top look if I absolutely had to make one. In the other games, like I said, they're difficult. I do want to mention one more thing real quick, and shout out to Dream. I know he mentioned this on the show on Thursday. Kevin Durant assists, right? I think he cashed it on Thursday. I think he had 6. And Houston had been doing exactly what Dream said. He said that they've been trapping the ball handler, getting it out of their hands, making them, make plays for everybody else. And that's what's been happening. So I do think that KD assists is absolutely in play for today as well. I want to kind of go through, just because I don't feel that confident on the sides and the totals in these games today. Like I said, maybe potentially make some live bets, but I want to kind of go through and figure out if I can find a super nice player prop that I like. It's just a difficult slate, man. But I just only cap the games from size and totals perspective so far, and I will look at some player props. Yesterday, I know I gave out 3. Zubac to go over his points plus rebounds. He'd end up not playing. I gave out Anthony Edwards over 28.5 points. He left the game at halftime. And I gave out Damian Lillard over his 10.5 rebounds and assists, and he finishes with 10 because of the blowout. So 0-1-1 on player props yesterday. So I guess not too bad, but definitely should have. I thought those were going to go 3-0. So those are the top looks for me, man. Like I said, if I had one, it would be the Lakers and Denver to go under the 228. Resources that I use, you guys can check these out if you're interested. Always get that question though. And then that's it for today. Let's go back to the comments real quick and see what you guys are saying before we get up out of here. Lingowick says, have you ran the SDL on Nets as favorites against the Southeast Division the last 25 games? I have not, but I can look into that real quick, Lingowick, just because I got a couple minutes. Let's go. You said Nets, and Riz did say Nets aren't favorite anymore. Nets as a favorite. This season, they only looks like they are. Oh, you said Southwest Division. I did not look at Southwest Division, and they're not the favorite, so we'll throw that out. Chad says Brooklyn to the well. With Suns first half for me. Back to the well with Suns first half for me. That makes a lot of sense, Chad. If you're gonna play it, maybe even a team total over, because like I said, Phoenix, much like Brooklyn. Phoenix, much like Miami, scores a lot of points in the first half, and then they really can struggle to score in the second half. So Brooklyn first half against the number makes a lot of sense. Real quick, let me look at that. Let's see how well Phoenix has been playing first half against the number. This one does make a ton of sense to me. I like that. Let's see. First half, let's just go last 10. Phoenix 6-4 against the number, first half, last 10. Houston 4-6 against the number, first half, last 10. Last 5. Phoenix 4-1 against the spread, last 5. In Houston 2-3. So this makes a lot of sense, Chad. I like Houston I'm sorry. I like that Phoenix look first half. That makes a ton of sense to me. Jose says, "What's up, my brother?" He says, "Dallas killed me yesterday. Hopefully today is better. Love your show, brother. Appreciate you as well, Jose. Best of luck to you today, man. Hope you found some cash. I know Dallas killed a lot of people, and like I said, I didn't take the spread with Minnesota, but they killed me because I had them in a money line parlay, and I had their team total under. So definitely looking to bounce back on whatever it is that I play." Chad says, "Don't hate the live bet on the Rockets when they get down by 20. I agree with that. I agree with that. Dream says Bill will be back, but he'll have a minutes limit, and KD already averaging 5.5 assists with Bill. So it sounds like Dream like KD to go over the assist look again. Chad says what I said. The slate is garbage. I agree with that. Fred says I like that look, Chris. I think you should hit with the Luka over 41.5 points and assists. Yeah, Luka go crazy, man. RL says the Rockets team total over. Suns ain't playing defense like that. What do you think? The Suns. The reason why I didn't make this an official play, RL, on the over, and it's probably not even a official play. I'm probably not gonna touch it. Is because I don't trust the Rockets offense. Like they just so Jalen Green has 34 points in the last game. He'll come out and have 7 today, and then Jabari Smith Jr. be the guy that has a ton of points, but they still only end up with like 105. So the Rockets offense is just not trustworthy for me, in my opinion. Tasha says, I always say can't bet against Boston. That's a fact, Tasha. That is a fact. Boston is I mean, they doing their thing right now. And yeah, they doing their thing. Coop says Amari Stoudemire will be inducted into the Suns Ring of Honor today. So that may be a little bit more added motivation. I feel like I saw that the other day too, Coop. Okay, I appreciate you shouting that out. Let's see. EST says best bet in sports on the board today. Ernest likes the Rockets team total over. I think that number is like what 108.5 maybe. Nah, it's got to be higher than that, right? Real quick, let's just look at that real quick. Team total over for I got it pulled up already. 110.5. 110.5, it looks like is the best number on Bet Rivers right now. It's some 111.5 for Houston as well. But if you like Houston to score 110.5, I think you got to like Phoenix to score 120.5 too. Because I do think Phoenix gonna be able to get whatever it is they want on the offensive end. Real quick, one more thing I want to check. These two teams just played. They've actually played twice within the last 2 weeks, and I'm pretty sure that probably trends towards the under as well. Did that first game go under? Yeah, so both games have actually gone under. They played on the 23rd and they played on the 29th, and both games went under the total. First one went under by 10. The second one went under by 15. In both games, Houston team total has absolutely had to go under. Well, no, Houston actually scored 114 in the first game. They only scored 105 in the second game. Okay, yeah, we'll look into that. I can't. I don't know. Y'all like that Rockets team total to go over? I don't know, man. I do not know. Do not know about that. Yeah, I agree with you, Chad. He says a mental boost, perhaps, with Amari Stoudemire getting his jersey retired. Robin says, great show. Watching from Dar es Salaam. Best play. He says, play as Baylor and LA Nuggets under in a parlay. Okay. Coop says, not in love with the slate today. Might be a good day off for your bankroll for me. I would agree. If I do make a play, it's probably going to be that Lakers and Denver go under. See what happened with Jamal Murray and KCP in that game. Zubrin says Bill under 16.5 points, most likely minutes restriction, and he's probably gonna get hurt again. Don't wish he get hurt again. That's terrible, man. But I mean, if outside of that, like, yeah, maybe. Chad says Phoenix total first half. He says they just really struggle in the second half, and having some great closers historically doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. I agree, Chad. It makes no sense that you got Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and you can't close the game. It makes no sense at all. She says Dubs now 20-8 against the spread on the road. I'm so I was salty I didn't bet Golden State yesterday because I talked about not winning Toronto, and Golden State wins that game with no problem. No Wiggins, no Brzezinski. And yeah, I agree. 77 figure says tough card. Looking at book over his points today. Will give Whitmore the business. Yeah, I could see him getting that Whitmore today. He had 20 points in the first half, I think, in the last game as well. All right, let me get up out of here, man. King Indo says Phoenix under 231. So some trends towards both. Mr. Cash Out likes Denver plus 1.5. He said they've covered 8 out of their last 10. That line's not 1.5, is it? No way the Lakers then moved to 1.5 point favorites. Yeah, I'm not sure where you got that one at. I do see Denver actually move to the favorite on bookmakers. Coop says Murray tweaked his ankle pretty bad last game. I'll be surprised if he plays. I would agree with that. I think that's why the money's coming in already. Chad says got to sprinkle on MPJ threes if Murray and KCP. If they don't go, his usage has to increase. He's been on fire. I would agree with that since his recent slump. Yeah, he came out and said it too. After that they were kind of looking forward to the All-Star break just a tad bit too early. And then they're kind of locked in right now. Hold Up Dub says I like DeJounte Murray and Colin Sexton points. She says Denver not letting the Lakers get a win this late. Yeah, I don't think so either, man. Denver owns my Lakers, man. It's terrible, honestly. 77 figure says honestly Denver owns the Lakers and AD runs away from the Joker. Bitsy says, Chris, I got a UFC play, brother. I'm not even sure how to pronounce those two names, but he says they're plus 100. Hope you cash. King Indo likes Miami -6 and Miami under 225. Okay. Yeah, I got some looks, man. Best of luck to y'all. Like I said, I don't really enjoy anything on this slate, man, but I hope y'all cash. And if I do make some live plays or any official plays, they will be in the YouTube membership for anybody that's interested. Best of luck to y'all, man. I'll probably be back and maybe even jump ahead to tomorrow, try to get ahead of these lines before they even drop, and then do a night show tonight or something early in the morning. But I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Hit the like button for me on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't, and share the video if you guys can as well. Best of luck to you guys tonight. I'm out.